because I wanted to upload a little bit of this to YouTube, so I wanted to get this out of the way. I didn't get a chance to upload anything to YouTube yesterday, so.
Wow, a lot has changed. For Glorious, but for me too. Let's talk about the Model O Pro. Since there isn't a ton to talk about with the Model O Pro itself, I'm going to spend a few minutes comparing it to the Model O Wireless. Then I want to talk about the Glorious Forge program as a whole. I know a lot of people were pretty upset about the fact that this mouse and others were released as group buys. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll let you in on something that I just found out recently that might allow you to get your hands on one. It's not a giveaway, it isn't a shady reseller, it's legit. So let's get into it. While the outside of the Model O Pro looks very different, the internals are largely the same. When you compare it to a Model O Wireless, you have the same BAMF sensor based on the PixArt 3370. It's a great sensor, great implementation here. Left and right clicks feel really great, really crispy. They're Glorious's own switches based on the KL 8.0s rated for 80 million clicks. I love them in the Model O Wireless and I love them here. Scroll wheel and encoder feel exactly the same as the Model O Wireless. I love how light the scroll is, and I love the tension on the middle click. Side buttons feel great. Again, no changes from the Model O Wireless here. A little bit of pre-travel, not much post-travel. But in terms of build quality, one of the biggest issues coming from the original Model O and the Model O Wireless was the ability to squeeze the mouse to get the side buttons to trigger. Glorious must have spent some time in the engineering department on this one, because I tried really hard to get these to click, even to the point of almost breaking my mouse, and I couldn't get them to click. I highly suggest you don't try this, but if you do so at your own risk. The bottom of the mouse is largely the same power button placement, same feet as the original Model O and Model O Wireless, which is good news. If you have a stock of Model O feet, they'll fit here. But what has changed on the bottom of the mouse, along with the rest of the mouse, is the absence of the honeycomb shell that we've come to basically know as the Model O. In its place is a closed shell design that Glorious says has an updated texture for added grip, and I can see this. I've always really enjoyed the grip on the Model O, but the Model O Pro feels much grippier. Gone is the bearded logo on the inside of the mouse, and in its place is a simplistic, Glorious typeface with the Forge logo on the outside of the mouse. The RGB is completely gone from this mouse. The only lighting of any kind is the DPI indicator on the bottom of the mouse, as well as a charging indicator in between the left and right trigger on the top of this mouse. I don't know why, but this is my favorite part of the Model O Pro. Cutting out all that RGB though allows them to get the weight of this mouse down to 55 grams. That's lighter than even the Model O Minus wired, which comes in at 58 grams. But it's still a Model O, a really, really great Model O. But I struggle to call it the best Model O, not because I don't like it, I really, really do like it. And it is the best version of the Model O. For someone like me, for somebody who's willing to sacrifice RGB for the lightest weight possible. But it's important to remember that in the PC gaming world, not everybody cares that much about weight. It's why the group buy format for the Model O Pro really didn't bother me that much. The main audience for this mouse was people who really enjoy the Model O and are willing to compromise on things like RGB to get the lightest weight possible. It's becoming very popular to release pro variants of very popular gaming mice like the Razer Viper and the Logitech G Pro Wireless. And those mice, they all have one thing in common. They're willing to sacrifice basically every feature in the search for the lightest possible weight. But as I mentioned, not everybody cares about that. What about left-handed users? You think they care about a lightweight mouse that they technically can't really use? There are people out there who care about RGB, who want the ability to match their lighting setups. The group buy model has always been around to provide a small group of people the ability to get their hands on products they might not otherwise get because they don't appeal to the mainstream. It helps prevent a loss of money due to lower than projected sales, an issue that usually causes companies to discontinue products altogether. And if you feel like you missed out or you refuse to buy a mouse that used the group buy model altogether, I've got some news for you. It's fine. If you use an original Model O or some other mouse, the chances of this mouse improving your game that much is very unlikely. The mouse market is also moving so fast that the odds are in 6 to 12 months, there's going to be a mouse that you either prefer better or has a lighter weight. And while I'll certainly continue to use the Model O Pro, it's not going to completely replace the Model O Wireless for me. I still really like the Model O Wireless. And if I'm being totally honest, I prefer the design of the original Model O Wireless over the Model O Pro. You can call me nostalgic, but I really am a sucker for that honeycomb design. I can't say for sure if the group buy model is the best way to sell gaming mice, but who am I to say? If you look at something like Amazon's bestseller list, a mouse like the Model O Pro doesn't really fit into that group of mice. I love the Model O Pro, and I think it's a great example of all of the things that Glorious has learned over the years. But I don't think you should feel too bad about it if you either missed out because you didn't know the group buy was happening or you didn't want to be a part of a group buy. It just isn't that big of a deal. But if you did miss out and you're really, really regretting it, like I am with the Series 1 Pro, I was in Micro Center the other day and I noticed that they had the wired Model O Pink on sale, which was one of Glorious's first Forge releases. I asked Glorious about this, and they told me that everyone is able to place orders at Forge, even their business partners, which includes Micro Center. And now, while I haven't seen the Model O Pro come up just yet, Max Gaming, that does currently have the Model O Pros on sale, and is slated to have the Series 1 Pros on sale towards the middle of November. They are based in Sweden, so if you're either international or US based, you might take a hit on shipping, but at least it's an option to get these mice if you missed out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know there's going to be a lot of people that disagree about the group buy stuff. There's not really much I can do about it. You can leave a comment. We can talk about it. I'd prefer you didn't hit the dislike button, but there's not much I can do about it if you do. But if for whatever reason you want to help my channel out, you could click the subscribe button. It would really mean a lot to me. But otherwise, I will check you guys in the next video. Bye.